Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to bring up a discussion topic that I've recently brought up around my locals for One Piece. And that topic is, should One Piece have a sideboard going forward? Or I guess soon. Hopefully they can implement one soon, because it seems like in general, as a Dragon Ball Super player as well, that we have gone away from the best of 3 format down to the best of 1 with a pre-sideboard, meaning it's one match. You get about a minute or so to go through your side deck to put in the cards you think will be good against this particular matchup. Because let's face it here, there is no way to build a deck that will beat every other deck and have a good matchup into every other deck. And that's just a given. Because if there was one deck that, in any card game, that could beat every other deck, then no one would play any other decks, you know? And I think the addition of a sideboard and then best of 1 pre-side gives people the ability to play on equal footing. Now, when I brought up the subject of a sideboard, some people in my locals, I shouldn't say all, some people were like, no, that would be awful. And my thoughts were, why? Why would that be a bad thing? Because let's take a look at the current meta for One Piece. Set 3 just dropped, and we have 2 new amazing contenders for the top spot of best deck in the format. We have Yellow Katakuri and Black Rob Lucci. Of course, Zoro and Whitebeard have carried over from sets 1 and 2. And then Trafalgar Law is still doing very well, even though it did not get any recent support. And it just seems like, at least in my personal opinion, Whitebeard and Zoro are still the top 2 decks in the format. Of course, they're both red. Not surprising, Bandai seems to just have a hard-on for any and all red decks in their games. At least from what I can tell. And obviously, there are certain decks that have a better matchup into Zoro, into Whitebeard. Katakuri, for example, can be a decent matchup into Whitebeard. Rob Lucci can be a decent matchup into Whitebeard. But then Zoro, another red deck, can easily steamroll a lot of those decks. The meta right now, I feel like, is pretty diverse. But it seems to be primarily there's a triangle. Black has a pretty good matchup right now into red. Red has a great matchup into yellow, and then yellow has an amazing matchup into black. If we want to take like the top 3 colors right now, which some people would argue green is up there, which I can definitely understand that. But going into my idea here of a side deck, why? I think that a side deck would be a great thing to add into this game. There are definitely, when I'm building a deck, that I'm like, you know what, this card would be amazing into this deck, but also this card would be great into this deck. But if I do go into that deck, these cards here that are good for other matchups aren't so good. And it gives the opponent the opportunity, both players the opportunity to tweak their decks at the last minute to go into their upcoming match. For example, 3000 Worlds is a great blue card that was just added in and has a great matchup into, it's very good against red decks that play both Marco's, the blocker, and the 4-drop blocker and the 5-drop, 6k attacker. Both are great because Marco keeps rejuvenating itself. Being able to play a card that puts it at the bottom of the deck to get rid of it permanently is amazing. But then that same card may not be as good into some other matchups. It's the idea that you should not sit down in front of an opponent, pull your deck out, and then look at your opponent's play and be like, well, I auto lose to that because I did not prep for that deck. And I have a bad matchup against it. I don't see why the idea of having a side deck is so bad in One Piece. Dragon Ball does it, and I think it does a great job of utilizing it fairly. So I don't understand why One Piece doesn't. And I know we are still in the early stages. Set 4 is out in Japan. Set 5 is going to be released soon. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this is a very interesting discussion topic of why, I don't understand why you wouldn't want a side deck. So please let me know in the comments down below what you think. What do you think about if they were to introduce a sideboard into the game? Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? I know this video is a little bit on the quicker side of things because I genuinely just, it's a very easy discussion and I wanted to make a video about it, you know? Give me the pros and cons of why you would want a sideboard, why you wouldn't want a sideboard, and if it would... I generally think a sideboard would help a lot of players into the Whitebeard matchups, into the Zoro matchups, into the Katakuri matchups, into, hell, even like the Dofi matchup, you know? There's great options, you know, like blue, I think, is a very versatile deck that there's so many different types of blue cards that would work great in certain matchups, but you can't fit all of them into a single deck. So having a sideboard would be able to, like, oh, I'm going into a Zoro matchup. These promo Jinbeis are going to be great for this. Oh, I'm going into the Whitebeard matchup. I'm going to throw some 3000 Worlds in here that I may not need to use in other matchups. But anyway, sorry, I'm ranting. This is kind of a little bit of a ranting video. But I'm just curious, what do you guys think about adding a sideboard into the game of One Piece? Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts and opinions are, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.
Here's how the story goes. We find out about a treasure in the Grand Line, there's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing, I'll be king of the pirates, I'm gonna be king. His name is Luffy. That's Monkey D. Luffy.